I am Vasyl Lomachenko. You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So it was recently reported, even though Bob Arum, he's been talking about trying to make this fight for a couple of weeks, but it looks like they're getting closer to making this fight come to fruition. And that's Vasyl Lomachenko versus Nicholas Walters, possibly fighting on June 11th. Now, I thought one of the most interesting things about this article was the fact that it's also being reported that Lomachenko is actually going to move up in weight to fight against the very dangerous, the very powerful Nicholas Walters. That is impressive. I give Lomachenko a lot of credit for doing something like that. Because if you kind of look at some of the fighters today, not too many fighters have been willing to move up in weight and face the best fighter at a higher weight class. We rarely see it today. I mean, we see Andre Ward doing it, fighting against Barrera, and he's already agreed to fight Kovalev the end of this year. You know, you can never really tell how good a fighter is until we see him deal with adversity. And when it comes to Lomachenko, dealing with the adversity that he's already dealt with, fighting against a really rough, tough, rugged Orlando Salido. He lost to that guy in a very, very close fight. Then he comes back and he fights Gary Russell Jr., a fighter who has the potential to still be pound for pound top 3, one of the best fighters in the world. Lomachenko, he goes in there and he dominates Gary Russell. Now he's talking about moving up to a higher weight class to fight not just any fighter at 130, but the best fighter at 130. Nicholas Walters. And keep in mind, Lomachenko has less than 10 fights. So I would ask you, and not including his World Boxing Series fights, because he does have more fights on his record if you include those fights. But going back to what I was saying. So now I would ask you guys a question. When it comes to Lomachenko versus a Gennady Golovkin, who would you say has dealt with more adversity in their career up to this point? That's a very easy question to answer, right? It's a no-brainer. Of course it would be Lomachenko. Why? Because even though Gennady Golovkin is on this impressive knockout win streak, he has far more fights than Lomachenko. He's been very impressive in the gear that he's been stuck in, but yet at the same time, Golovkin was not willing to move up in weight to fight the best fighter at 168, the best fighter in the world at the time, under Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward. But Lomachenko, he's willing to do it. Lomachenko is willing to do exactly what Golovkin was not and is not willing to do today. That's why what Lomachenko is doing is so damn impressive. And it's not just Lomachenko and Andre Ward that were willing to do things like this. We can go all the way back to Shane Mosley when he was the lightweight champion. Shane Mosley moved up 2 weight classes so that he could fight the bigger Oscar De La Hoya, who was top 3 pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world. Guillermo Rigondeaux. Rigo moved up in weight to 122 just to fight the much bigger, stronger Nonito Donaire. And he beat him. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. You have Adrian Broner, who moved up all the way to welterweight, fought a much bigger, stronger Marcos Maidana. Even though he lost, he was willing to take that risk. And that's what it's all about. It's about taking risk. Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao moved up 5, 8 weight classes, dealing with adversity during their entire career. This is what it's supposed to be about. So when Gennady Golovkin says, I'll fight the weaker opposition at the higher weight class, but I don't want to fight the best fighter at a higher weight class, that's not a good look for Golovkin, guys. Listen, you could be a number one Gennady Golovkin fan, but you would have to admit that that is not a good look for Golovkin. It's not. And when you think about the fact that everyone is talking about how Golovkin is this Terminator and he's knocking out everyone, that's more of a reason. Golovkin has more of a reason than any of those other fighters that I mentioned to move up in weight. Because this man is known as a knockout artist. Okay? There's no reason why he should be saying, oh, I'll move up to 168. I'll fight that guy Chavez. But oh no, I don't want to fight the number one pound for pound guy. You know what else this tells me? It also tells me that if Nicholas Walters was a natural super middleweight and he was calling out Gennady Golovkin, I mean, just imagine that for a second. Imagine Nicholas Walters being a natural 168 pounder with that Ike Corte bazooka jab that Nicholas Walters has, the power, the body shots, the slickness, the durability. Imagine all of that stuff wrapped up together. And he's calling out the middleweight champion who's knocking out everyone at middleweight, Gennady Golovkin. Does Gennady Golovkin take that fight, guys? We know he doesn't take the fight. Because if he didn't want to fight Ward, if he doesn't want to fight James DeGale, hell, he doesn't even want to fight a junior middleweight in Edeslani Lara, we know he wouldn't have took a Nicholas Walters fight at 168. We're talking about a guy who's going to probably be stronger than Golovkin. He would definitely be as strong as Golovkin, but because he would be naturally bigger than Golovkin, that would pose serious threats for Gennady. So big props to Lomachenko for taking this fight. I really commend him. This is a good fight. This is a 50-50 fight. I mean, it's hard to really call a winner right now because you just have so many intangibles. I mean, right now, you could probably say Lomachenko is top 3, one of the most technically skilled fighters in the game right now. And that's saying a whole lot. But then you have Nicholas Walters, who brings something different to the table. Nicholas Walters, he brings this raw power with this great jab that he can hit your ass all the way from the red corner to the blue corner. I mean, that jab reaches out like Doslem's arms from Street Fighter. You feel me? So this guy is really impressive. I mean, the fact that you can be an aggressive fighter is one thing. But to be an aggressive fighter and have an excellent jab, that makes you a double threat. Because usually aggressive fighters, they don't have a jab. This man is an aggressive fighter and he will have a better jab than the guy that he's chasing in the ring. That was the case when he fought against Nonito Donaire. It was the exact same case. Nonito Donaire, he was moving around the ring. He was trying to box. First Donaire, he tried to go power for power with Walters. And then when Donaire got dropped for the first time, that's when he went to plan B and he tried to box. Even when he was boxing, Nicholas Walters was still out jabbing him. Not only was he out jabbing him, but he was beating the shit out of Donaire with nothing but the jab. So that jab is going to be keys to Nicholas Walters' victory. And not only that, but his aggression, his boxing, his inside game, his body shots. So this makes for a great fight, guys. It makes for a great fight. The question is, will Lomachenko's skills and foot movement alone be able to keep the aggressive, possibly even stronger Nicholas Walters off of him? Now we know that as technically sound as Lomachenko is, he did lose to a guy who didn't have anywhere near the skill that Lomachenko has, and that was Orlando Salido. And I truly attribute that to the fact that Loma making that transition from amateur to pro wasn't fully acclimated to the pros, to the real pro different style of fighting. He wasn't used to fighting a rugged type of aggressive Mexican style type fighter straight from Mexico to just come in and just bully you, walk through your punches and continue to throw punches all over your body, just all over you like a cheap suit. I don't think he was used to that at the time. I still don't think he is. You know, I know people may say, oh, he's gotten experience, but he hasn't fought an Orlando Salido since he lost to him. So you can't really say that he, you know, now he's better. What Loma should have did, as far as I'm concerned, is he should have gave Salido a rematch, or he should have at least avenged his loss. You know, that would have told him a lot more about himself as well. But he didn't do that. So once again, we don't know how he deals with that type of pressure and aggression. So we'll see. We'll see. But once again, man, I'm still not picking a winner because Lomachenko is still a beast with the hands. You know, his foot movement, his angles are ridiculous. His combinations, he's technically sound. So this makes for a great fight. So I'll talk more about this fight once it's official. And that's pretty much all I got for now. I'm on to the next one.